All right, what's up, everybody? Christopher Leon Johnson here. Do a little quick video response. I don't like doing these videos, but I'm just going to do it right now for this video that I saw via via Los Deliveristas that blocked me. I know why. But I want to make a response to this, right? Now, there's a lot of talk. There's a campaign happening right now led by Justin Brandon to introduce a bill to where Deliveristas will be getting the same protections as the TWA members, like when it comes to unfair deactivations and making sure that these guys get the real proper rights that they can get, like how the Uber drivers and the Lyft drivers can gets within the city of New York. Now, let me make this clear, right? So I saw the clip via Subway Text with David Bryan and Kareem, and he's talking about how all deliveries get paid by the delivery, which is really not the case. The truth of the matter of fact is that the deliveristas get paid by the hour. They get paid by the hour. Now, with that hour, they'll do a certain amount of deliveries in that hour in order to get paid. So there's like a quarter of deliveries these guys and gals have to do within the hour in order to get paid. They don't get paid by delivery. Getting paid by delivery is all over. And what I'm talking about is the tip option, right? Where these guys, like say, they could work where they want to work. If they do 20 deliveries, they get paid by tips for 20 deliveries. Sometimes you might not get tipped out. Depends on the person, right? They deliver, they don't get tipped, whatever, right? But usually, majority of the time, these guys get paid on tips, solely on tips. But what happened in 2023, the law changed to where that now the guys get paid minimum wage. And what happened because of that, the apps retaliated and took away the tip option. And now Sean Abreu helped put that back to where like now you had to bring back the tip option, right? But the truth of the matter of fact is right now is that these guys do not get paid by delivery. They get paid by the hour for all the deliveries they make. So no matter if the quota say 10 deliveries an hour, if they do 10 or they do 11, they get paid the $21.44 an hour. Let me make this clear, right? I'll make this clear, be transparent right here. I am a pro-labor person. I am not against a living wage. I'm not the type of person that say that nobody should make a living wage. I'm the type of person that say that a busboy should be making a living wage. A dishwasher should be making a living wage. A person that works in a restaurant should be making a living wage. Everybody should make a living wage, right? But like I said before, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, because out there that day with the many of the deliveristas that was against this initiative, that the rollout of the minimum wage was a bad rollout. The first batch of minimum wages that they put out for Uber and DoorDash and Grubhub and Relay was a bad rollout because the city council, which that time was really introduced by Brad Lander, who's now a controller, only allowed one nonprofit to speak on behalf of everybody else, which was Worker Justice Project, Los Deliveristas, this is led by Lydia Galapa. They only let one nonprofit speak on behalf of everybody else. And if you start understanding the whole situation, that there were even many people within their own nonprofit that didn't really agree with the rollout of the minimum wage. And nobody will ever say that they're against people making $30 an hour, $40 an hour, $50 an hour. I'm not against that stuff. Like I said, I'm not the type of person that say that nobody should get paid $1 more. I was in a union at one point. I was a shop steward with the BJ. A lot of people in the political world know who I am in the political world with the union stuff. I was the type of person that was fighting, busting my ass to make sure that people get paid $1 more. So why I'm against people get paid $1 more? I mean, it's kind of stupid, bad thinking from people. But let's make this clear that the rollout of the minimum wage was really a bad rollout because there was many people, including myself and other liberalistas, we parted ways. We had a bad falling out, but I don't care because I'm trying to do the right thing for people that I did it wrong. That with the minimum wage, this was going to open a can of worms, and this was going to open up a big time can of worms to the point of there's a point of no return. Now look what happened with the can of worms because of the minimum wage for the deliveristas with the Grubhub, DoorDash, and Uber and Relay. Look what happened. We've been saying this stuff. This is open up a can of worms, like immigration, ICE, all the shit like that was gonna really hard to put back in. And we've been told, Liggy, we've been told all these nonprofits and like this is going to happen, but they didn't listen. Okay? Look what happened going forward because of minimum wage, right? We got a minimum wage. I'm not against the minimum wage. I'm against the rollout. And I'm still against the rollout when it comes to Instacart. And I'm going to explain why. Look what happened with this minimum wage. Look how we got a commissioner, a police commissioner right now, Jessica Tisch, that Liga Galapa and all those other people like Alejandro, fucking Gustavo, William, and all those people, I have respect for. But like I said, I gotta call bullshit. I call bullshit. I call a spade. I call a spade. Not one of them, including Ben Furness, Elizabeth Adams, and Mark Gorton, or anybody at Transalt, have not said that we had to fire Jessica Tisch, because Jessica Tisch is the biggest engineer when it comes to that comes to criminalizing deliveristas for going 1 mile over the speed limit, criminalizing deliveristas when they refuse to wear a vest. Very soon on September 2nd, I hope that everybody start getting ready for that date for New York City rules, for the DOT, NYC rules, that there's going to be a public testimony, public comment section on September 2nd via Zoom. Get Zoom from New York City DOT to comment on should deliveristas be mandated to wear a vest and protective gear. We think it's going to happen when that happens, when the cops, when NYPD want to start giving people tickets like hand hotcakes. They're going to handle target deliveristas that not wearing the proper gear. They're going to get Class C summonses, and they're going to be all subject to fucking criminal court. And look what's going on right now. If Eric Adams was to lose on November 2nd, November 4th, he'll allow Trump to sick ICE into those facilities, and a lot of guys are going to start being deported. So let's make that clear. We got this issue here with the criminalization of deliveristas, because these guys are blowing red lights. These guys are doing all this type of stuff right now they shouldn't be doing, but they're forced to do this stuff. They're really forced to do this stuff to where like the quotas have forced these guys and gals' hand to blow red lights, and to the point of hitting people, to the point of killing people with those e-bikes. We got a group that is called NYC EBSA that I have a big feeling, people that I have respect for, I have a big feeling that is in the ear of certain people that are close to Jessica Tisch, and she's the one that's setting up these policies and making these rules on behalf of them. See what happens, guys? This is what happens when you have minimum wage. When you open up a can of worms where you open a can of worms where the apps try to sue the city. They say, we don't want the minimum wage. They knew they wasn't going to win. So, all right, you know what? We'll drop a lawsuit. We'll let you guys win. But you got to let us do ABCEFG. And Liga Galapa and Elizabeth Adams and Ben wasn't there. You can't call out Ben because Ben Fernandez was not there. And a lot of people can't come. It was Danny Harris, right? Danny Harris, Elizabeth Adams, Elizabeth Adams, and Liga Galapa didn't even say like, look, well, if this means that these guys are forced to do quotas to get paid, knowing that if these guys do the quotas to get paid, this is going to put people in danger, we'll let the lawsuit just rock. But they were so desperate for minimum wage because they're so desperate to act like they were so desperate to raise their fists and stuff like that and portray that they did something great for the people. They just let the apps do what they do. And look what happened. See? And that's the crazy thing. It's like, look, I'm not against, like I said, these mainly Transalt and LDU allow this to happen. They allow this stuff to happen. And I've been said that, you guys really allow this stuff to happen, where you let the apps, you got them, you got your guy minimum wage. I'm proud of that. I'm happy about that. But the rollout made a lot of consequences. It created a lot of consequences because of that. And look what happens. I'm not against you guys. I'm trying my best to make sure this shit doesn't happen. I'm like the only one that's saying that Tisch need to be fired. But you guys got to start saying the same thing too, is that Jessica Tisch need to be fired. She had to get fired. The next mayor with most of these Kwame Madani needs to fire Jessica Tisch. She has to go. She is the biggest adversary when it comes to Deliverista rights in the city. She's the biggest adversary because she is the reason that those guys and gals are subject to criminal court, 1 Century Street, 16th floor. She's the reason. And the thing is that a lot of people, I understand, like, oh, they are scared because she's a billionaire heiress. And a lot of people want that piece of that $10 billion. But sometimes, and there's times you got to say, look, is the money really worth the integrity of the people that you're so-called out to fight for? Is it really worth the money? Is it really worth selling out the people that you are so-called fighting for a paycheck? I'm not that type of person. There's a lot of times, like I said, I could have really went certain routes because there was money on the table, but I refused to go that route because I know that I could have took the money, but I wasn't able to sleep at night. And there's times you got to say, look, yo, you got to put your fucking foot down and say, look, Tisch got to go. You got to get rid of Jessica Tisch. No matter who the mayor is, if Tisch did not get removed, you're going to still have more criminalization of Deliveristas. More criminalization of Deliveristas and more criminalization of your members. And Transalt needed to say the same thing, is that, look, until, like Ben Fernandez, until he calls on the removal of Jessica Tisch, these guys and gals going to still go through more of the stuff they're going through. Like I said, this minimum wage thing is the reason these guys are being unfairly deactivated. The minimum wage is the reason why these guys are going through this. Is the reason why you got a resistance like NYC that want these guys to be criminalized for blowing a red light, for riding an e-bike. They want e-bike regulations. They want all this stuff like that with Bob Holden because it's your guy's fault. It's Transalt's fault. And it's Los Angeles' fault. Like I said, I'm not here. Like I said, everybody know my story. Everybody know my redemption story, my redemption thing with Ligia, just like that. But you gotta call a spade a spade. You gotta call a spade a spade, and that's what it is with me. I know you might not like me. You could like me, hate me, but I'm here to call a spade a spade. So I'm about a lot go off here, about a lot put on this video. Like I said, it's just getting ridiculous. Like when I'm hearing this stuff all the time. With this unfair deactivation stuff and stuff like that, and I get it, and I'm for reactivating people accounts on DoorDash and Uber and Lyft. Reactivate JQ account. Reactivate JQ's Impunity Cities account on X. Like Uber. Reactivate JQ's Uber account, because bring back JQ. Bring back JQ. And bring back JQ. You know what I'm saying? Bring back JQ. Shout out to JQ LLC. That's my nigga. I love JQ. That's my guy. But like I said, it's just like, yo, where this minimum wage opened up a can of worms that put everybody in danger. And this is the reason why that this is happening. Well, the e-bike situation, the e-bike crisis, because the minimum wage. The minimum wage set in 2023. And we all know who's there for that celebration. Marjorie Velasquez, who got voted out, she just responsible for it too. Marjorie Velasquez, Dirt to BJ, TWA, Eric Adams, Chuck Schumer, all just responsible. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, look, I'm for the reactivation of unfair deactivations. I'm against unfair deactivations. I'm for worker rights. I care about my Deliveristas, and the funny thing, people told me what we want, but the funny thing was that I actually got into shit that I got into in 2023 because I was helping undocumented people with their rights. I was helping out migrants with their rights. I was helping out Deliveristas with their rights. So just don't say that I'm this and I'm that. So funny, crazy thing, right? I actually got in trouble because in 2023, people know what happened that day. People explain what happened. I'm not gonna get into that. But Bolivia, because I was helping out undocumented migrants, or people call it illegal immigrants, with their situation. So I'm pro-migrant. I'm really pro-migrant. So that's all I gotta say. Like I said, I saw the clip. It's just Subway takes. Like I said, they do a lot of great content, but it just like the minimum wage helped all this shit happen. Like I said, just it's the people that are responsible for this, and they gotta start. They gotta look to the mirror like, yo, is the money really worth selling out your members and throw your members under the bus? Because if you don't call on for getting rid of Jessica Tish, more of your members gonna be thrown on the bus, even under the Mondani administration. So happy what is it? Wednesday the 20th. It's raining as fuck out there. And that's all I gotta say. I'm gonna try to put both of the bills together and iMovie it and later. Enjoy your day. Peace.